for a sensational try.
Sublime. Really is from Winfield-Hill.
Courtney Winfield-Hill. Are you used to the name yet?
I quite like it. It's like a winery somewhere. Maybe that's a post-rugby career.
You were a superstar in the Big Bash. You, in 2019, were the Woman of Steel. Can you take us through your sporting journey from cricket to rugby league?
Definitely not a superstar, but I enjoyed quite a period over in Oz through the Women's National Cricket League and then the evolution into the Big Bash. You know, I came over to England hoping after a couple of injuries at the back end of my cricket career in Oz to utilise a summer of cricket here in England, which most Aussies dream about. Unfortunately, visas and what have you got in the road, so rugby league it was. I suppose I went back to my, maybe I call it my first love. I remember that first tackle. I actually thought to myself, Courtney, what are you doing? Like, you're too little, you're too old, but so many other skills that transferred across that enabled me to thrive in a different space.
We saw the World Cup push back. As an Australian living over here for 5 years, you qualify to represent England. Are you putting your hand up?
It's certainly something you dream of as a little girl, but at my age, you know, 12 months is a long time to keep pressing the body on. I did feel it physically last year. Put it this way, it's a consideration.
Well, let's park rugby league and look at your relationship with Loz. She has previously spoken about the fact that when she made her relationship with you public, that she felt that a weight had lifted off her shoulders. Was that something that you experienced?
Was it a weight off my shoulder or was it a warmth in my heart? Now that might sound a bit corny, and it does even saying it, but I think that's what it was for me. My younger sister teases me a lot. She'll always say, oh, you've made her soft.
But what do you mean by that?
Soft.
More emotional? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Loz will definitely disagree that I still got a long way to go on that. But yeah, just the care you show for someone else. So she certainly softened me in all of my relationships, you know, with my family, with my friends. Learnt to love properly, perhaps.
I understand you proposed.
She always said like that was my part of the deal. She made the big move over here, and she regularly reminds me of that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a really special day.
Yeah, well, she did make the move over here because you're a Yorkshire girl who has played for your country, including winning the World Cup for England in 2017. Another monumental moment in your career was, of course, captaining the Northern Superchargers for the 100. What was it like from the inside?
It was exciting. I actually found it really overwhelming, like the first game and the crowds and the atmosphere, and like cricket's really traditional. You sit back and you really appreciate like nice skill, and it's quite calm. And the 100 was not calm. It was loud, there was fire going off, and I think it was just what this country needed, was to make cricket exciting, and to be a part of that as a player was just like, wow, this is awesome. How
supportive would you say the world of cricket has been in allowing you to truly be yourself?
Yeah, I think it's been hugely important. You know, our old coach, who came in at a time when Courtney came over, was very inclusive of having partners and people around in the dressing room and part of Team England. And I guess the next stage is for, you know, myself and my teammates to then project that outwardly. So we know that it's a really safe space in our dressing room. Sport is great, and sport can teach you so much, and you want that to be available to as many people from as many different backgrounds as possible.
Ladies, I have you both here together. Can you take me back to the first moment you met Courtney? Yeah,
so I just signed for the Brisbane Heat out in the Big Bash. So there was 2 English imports, me and Kate Cross. Courtney was actually really reserved. Everybody else like charged over and like, oh, hey girls, welcome. And then like Courtney just toddles over, quite like casual at the back. And was just like, yeah, hey. Courtney, very formal, gave the handshake. And I said to Crossy, oh, she's a bit different. I think she was just sussing us out.
I stayed in the nets a bit longer because I knew they'd arrived, and I was like, yeah, who are these 2 English girls come into the group. So I did stand back and suss them out for a while, but across that Big Bash period, first and foremost, we were really terrific friends, weren't we? We hit it off from the get-go, which was pretty cool, and here we are.
Never look back.
No.
You've previously spoken, Lauren, about the fact that when you first made your relationship with Courtney public, that you felt like it was a weight that had lifted off your shoulders. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so like, it wasn't really until we got married where we were sort of public and officially out, I suppose. I don't mind who knows what, you know, and you don't want to hide. You don't want to have to go to events and be like, oh, who's your partner? Are you with, who's your boyfriend? It's like, I'd always been really open with my friends and family. But that was always the piece that, I think I just kept my cards close to my chest with that.
Do you always feel like you've been accepted? Do you feel like you were ever excluded?
I wasn't excluded, but the experience of others made me feel like I was going to be. So it kind of put in the back of your mind, all right, I'm about to talk with family and friends about this. Am I going to experience difficult conversations, feeling excluded? And sometimes you make up these narratives in your own head, but it was actually the complete opposite. Some conversations I left for Mum to have. Thanks, Mum. Like I said to you earlier, I felt like, I use the word of, felt like you softened my heart. I was at a place where I was comfortable, and if I was comfortable with that, then I wasn't really worried if others weren't.
The wedding, was it everything that you ever dreamed of, Lauren?
Yeah, it was unreal. I have to give massive credit to Courtney because she was head of organising.
I'm not much for the cold, so I said, come on, let's go get married in Oz. And
on a beach?
On a beach, and my logistical, practical brain kicked in and just said, let's do it when everyone's out there for the World Cup. So, yeah, it was terrific. It was a couple of days before COVID.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky, very lucky.
Most marriages, I mean, they have their challenges, but Courtney, you coached the Northern Diamonds, a side that has Lauren in it. So many challenges, I'm sure, have popped up.
Lauren is the challenge.
What was that like? What was it like?
I think there's something really special about seeing your partner in a space that they're most passionate about, and the fact that you can help them, it's really quite special.
That transition to being a coach and picking faults or working on things, I found really difficult. Once I let my guard down and let Courtney be Coach Courtney, like, it was great because she's like my blindside bit, so it's almost like I'm getting a dose of the bit that I don't do that well.
Yeah, it was interesting because I would walk away from the session not thinking anything else about it. But old mate over here is offended.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's picking on me.
And she does, and
but you didn't bring it home, did you?
She told me that my footwork's not real good, or I'm not very good off the back foot today. And sometimes you saw that as she doesn't love me anymore. The flip of that, I used to get a bit competitive.
Okay.
And it was
a bit.
Yeah, a bit. So I had to learn to settle down, and you had to learn to find a bit more of a thicker skin. So we found it, I think.
Yeah.
Lauren, when you look at Courtney's career so far, was there a specific moment that made you super proud of her?
Like Woman of Steel and the trophies and stuff always get like the headlines, don't they? But I honestly think when she first came over here and it was like, I've got no cricket, what on earth do I do? I'm a lost soul without sport. I think it was actually that first game and we went to watch Wigan away, and then she made a break and it was like a pitch length try, and I was like, oh,
as she does,
she's actually really good. But I'd never, like, I was like, cricketer Courtney, and I just knew she's found herself again.
Courtney, is there one specific moment of her career that you think, wow, that's my wife?
Exactly what you said. It's easy to go to trophies and medals and all that kind of stuff. We know that England won that World Cup final at Lord's with a packed out crowd, but it's the narrative behind it for me. And Leah Tahuhu had hit you on the wrist and broken your wrist just before the tournament started. It was so tough for you, you know. Here I am helping you wash your hair in the bath and putting your hair in ponies because you couldn't get it up in your cast, and the World Cup starting, and To play a World Cup with a broken wrist as a cricketer when your hand is, as a batter, your biggest tool. So Loz is one of the... You can be the biggest wuss at times, but you're a big softie. But sometimes you are so incredibly tough as nails, and that was just one of those moments where I was like, gee, she is tough.
Rugby league and cricket, they take part in campaigns like Rainbow Laces. We have Pride. How important are these campaigns?
You know, one of my big, I call them pillars of my world, is about community, and sport is an enormous part of that. And things like these campaigns of Rainbow Laces are hugely important, so that people do feel a sense of community and a safe community for them
belonging.
A sense of belonging. I think it's hugely important just to remind people that you are welcome.
Yeah.
When you think of being a role model, you only think of it as like the cricket space or the rugby space, and that's the bit that people look up to. But actually, I think, you know, kids can actually do that bit. They want to connect with people who are like them. It's not about, oh, I like your cover drive or great catch. It's about, Loz, like, I can really connect with that. Thank you for that interview, or thank you for speaking up on that topic. I never had that when I was a kid, and I think it's much more powerful when you can have that human side of it, and you know, be looking up to people who are familiar and who are similar to you.
And part of a community.
Yeah.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.